HarperVia and HarperAudio present The Old Man Who Read Love Stories, a novel by Luis Sepúlveda, translated by Peter Bush, performed by Ian Guerra. While this novel was being read in Oviedo, Spain, by the members of the panel who a few days later awarded it the Tigre Juan Prize, thousands of shameful kilometers away, a gang of armed murderers paid by other bigger criminals, men with smart suits and manicured nails who claimed to act on behalf of progress, ended the life of one of the most distinguished defenders of Amazonia and one of the most outstanding and principled figures in the worldwide ecological movement. This novel will never reach your hands, Chico Mendes, dear friend of few words and many deeds, but the Tigre Juan Prize also belongs to you, and to all those who continue along your path, our collective path, in defense of the only world we have. Luis Sepúlveda. For my distant friend, Miguel Tsenke, Shuar Union leader from Sumbi in the Upper Nangaritza and great defender of Amazonia. On a night of magical storytelling, you revealed to me aspects of your unknown green world, which later, in other lands far from Ecuadorian Eden, helped me create this story. Luis Sepúlveda. Introduction. Luis Sepúlveda was a big, affable man who could establish a long conversation with whomever he found. He ate and drank like a king, and he also knew well when to stop. His friends used to wait for his arrival as if life was full only when he was around. When telling a story, he could shift the center of any table to the corner in which he was sitting, but he was also capable of long and concentrated silences, a person who was comfortable when alone, as if he had an off and on switch for social matters. I didn't know him well, but that's how I saw him during the short days in which I ended up spending time around him by chance, when he was already a famous writer. Truly beloved by common readers but snubbed by the literary establishment, Luis Sepúlveda's work has yet to find a stable place in the Latin American tradition, if tradition and even Latin America really exist. Literary success found him by surprise after the publication of The Old Man Who Read Love Stories in 1989. He was born in a small city, 200 miles north of Santiago de Chile, the son of a Mapuche woman and a restaurant owner. By the late 80s, when he was in his early 40s, he had been a sailor in the South Pacific and a personal bodyguard of the socialist president Salvador Allende in Chile, and because of that, a political prisoner who suffered isolation and torture after Augusto Pinochet's coup d'etat in 1973. After coming out of jail, Sepúlveda became a theater director in Buenos Aires, an apprentice of Shuar hunting techniques in the jungles of Ecuador, a Sandinista guerrilla fighter in Nicaragua, a journalist in Hamburg, and an active environmentalist on board a Greenpeace boat, way before we all had a serious conscience about the apocalyptic dimensions of the climate crisis we were already submerged in. He was not by any measure a regular writer, and his life experience did not fit well in a publishing world that had been ruled for a century by serene patrician figures of transparent, even obsessive European heritage, like Victoria Ocampo or Octavio Paz. The Old Man Who Read Love Stories takes place in the small imaginary town of El Idilio, the Idol, in the Amazon basin of Ecuador, and tells one episode in the life of Antonio José Bolivar Proaño, the titular old man, who knows the ways of the jungle because he spent part of his youth with an indigenous Shuar community, better known in the U.S. by the imposed Spanish name of Jibaros. One day, two Shuar men arrive in El Idilio with the dead body of an American hunter, and the despotic mayor, sent by the remote central government of Quito, launches an expedition in search of whatever had killed the foreigner, reluctantly led by Antonio José Bolivar Proaño. A novel to be devoured. Most set a few hours aside before opening it because doing anything other than finishing it feels insurmountable once inside its meteoric plot.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?